Since his January 18, 2023 death, singer and guitarist David Crosby's recovery from addiction has been a topic on the minds of many. He helped a lot of people along the way, including a teenage Drew Barrymore. Drug issues claimed the lives of far too many musicians of David Crosby's generation. Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, and Jim Morrison, just to name a few. Crosby himself was among those who struggled with drug use, but he turned his life around, kicked his addictions, and lived until he was 81 years old. According to Landmark Recovery, Crosby began smoking marijuana in his youth, and he eventually turned to hard drugs like cocaine and heroin. And once he started, he found it difficult to stop even if he wanted to. The musician told the San Diego Union Tribune, "You have to understand that I wanted to quit, but I was so severely addicted that I probably tried to 10 times and failed." His drug use increased after his girlfriend died in a car accident, and he had to identify her body. In the 1980s, Crosby faced charges of drug possession and weapons offenses. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison, but was released after just 9 months in a Texas prison. The prison time was tough for the musician, but he was also thankful for it as it kept him off drugs. He wrote a message to the judge to thank him for paving the way to sobriety. The Washington Post reports that he wrote songs in prison and even played the guitar in a band with his fellow inmates. Crosby was released in 1986, and he continued his clean living even on the outside. In 1989, he met 14-year-old Drew Barrymore. It's no secret that Barrymore had a turbulent childhood. She comes from a family of entertainers and herself became famous at just 6 years old when she starred in Steven Spielberg's E.T. She dabbled in alcohol and drugs even before reaching her teen years. The Guardian reports she spent plenty of time partying with her mother, Jade Barrymore, and her friends. She told the publication that the lowest point in her life was when she was 13 years old, feeling alone and angry after her parents separated. Her mother had committed her to a rehab facility for 18 months. In an interview with Howard Stern, the actress revealed that her mother acted more like her friend than a guardian, and it didn't help that Drew was a rebellious child. She stole her mother's car, skipped school, and was always angry. Barrymore described what the facility was like and said that it wasn't a posh rehabilitation clinic. She said,
"You couldn't mess around in there, and if you did, you would get thrown either in the padded room or get put in stretcher restraints and tied up."
After several months in the facility, some of the employees advised Barrymore that it would be best if she filed for emancipation from her mother when she got out, and she took the advice. Crosby met Barrymore in a recovery program. Crosby was friends with the person who ran the facility Barrymore was in, and the musician was told that the teenager's insurance wouldn't be able to cover her remaining time there. Barrymore would have to leave, but she needed guidance, and it was best if she didn't live with her mother. Crosby and his wife, Jan Dance, discussed the situation and offered to welcome Barrymore into their home in 1989. In his own interview with Howard Stern, Crosby described Barrymore as a nice kid. He acted as her temporary guardian and cared for her, and he even took her to school. Crosby was also serious about his own recovery, and he tried his best to be a good influence on the young actress.
I think that one worked out. I think she became a responsible human being and is a nice person.
In a 1990 interview with People, Crosby said that he wanted Barrymore to succeed in her recovery, explaining, "I felt she had been dealt a short deck, a fifth-generation alcoholic, and I didn't want to see her go down tubes." Barrymore spent a few months with Crosby. Although she had strict rules to follow, she told Stern that she had a good time with the musician, especially when he took her on tour with him and she got to see Neil Young, whom she described as the coolest human being ever. If you or anyone you know needs help with addiction issues, help is available. Visit the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration website or contact SAMHSA's National Helpline at 1-800-662-HELP 4357.